Okay. Welcome. So, I've decided that I'm just gonna act like I've got lots of people watching me. And there's a couple of things that I want to do. One of which is go through some theology things. Well, that probably sounds very big. I just want to read through chapters of the Bible and just share my thoughts on them. So, I saw some other people, they sort of started in the first book of at the start of the Old Testament. I felt like, let's do the New Testament, hey? So, this is very ambitious. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I'll try and do one chapter a day, starting in Matthew 1. And I'm just going to start doing sort of a bunch of things. So, let's see how we go, hey? So, there's also a couple of other things, I guess, that I want to do. One of which is I will put in the chat here an invite to a Discord channel. And when I'm online, I just want to chat with people. You can come talk to me about anything. Obviously, keep it above board and friendly and respectful. And yeah, I don't know. I'll just pretend we've got lots of people. Today I won't be on for a long time. Maybe another 30, 45 minutes. But let's just see how we go, hey? Okay. Ooh. So, let's make this one a little bit bigger. So I'm on my Discord. Probably won't be good if somebody just jump on now, but maybe afterwards. Okay. So let's read through this one and let's see what comes up. So Matthew 1, I'm doing the New International Version. And I'm just reading here on bible.com. Sure, give us some cookies. So this is probably not the most exciting place to start, but let's start at the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah. And I'm going to butcher a lot of these things, and I'm definitely not a Bible scholar or anything like that, but I would love to talk to people around about it. If you've got any questions, or I've got thoughts, or don't think that what I said was correct, or you've got extra things to add, I don't know. I think more people should just have a chat about these sort of things, or just have a chat about things in general. Okay, so let's start. The genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah. This is the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, Judah the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar, Perez the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, Ram the father of Abinadab, Aminadab, Ram the father of Aminadab, Aminadab the father of Nashon, Nashon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, Boaz the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother has been Uriah's wife, Solomon the father of Rehoboam, Solomon the father of Rehoboam, I'm struggling with that one, Rehoboam, Rehoboam the father of Abijah, Abijah the father of Asa, Asa the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat the father of Jehoram, Jehoram the father of Uzziah, Uzziah the father of Jotham, Jotham the father of Ahaz, Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, Manasseh the father of Amon, Amon the father of Josiah, Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the exile to Babylon. After the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abihud, Zerubbabel the father of Abinad, Abinad the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok the father of Achim, Achim the father of Eliud, Eliud the father of Eleazar, Eleazar the father of Mathan, Mathan the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, and Mary was the mother of Jesus, who is called the Messiah. Okay, we got through it. Thus there were 14 generations in all from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile to Babylon, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah. Okay, genealogy. It's not terribly exciting, I don't think. However, Matthew here is representing a genealogy here. And if you go to the Old Testament, there's actually a fuller genealogy, and people were missed out. So I was listening to a preacher preach recently, and he was saying that basically in olden times, it's not really like the the family trees that we do today. So if I were to do a family tree about my family, I would put everybody in there. I would put my aunts, my uncles, everybody, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, everybody that I knew I would put in. However, back in these days, they didn't necessarily do that. So people were skipped and missed out. And what Matthew is doing here is he's got 14 generations, 14 generations, 14 generations, and he's trying to tell a story, is what this preacher was talking about. And 14 is the number of David. So this is through the bloodline of Joseph. So we do get another genealogy later for Mary, but this one focuses on Joseph. And this number 14, he said, was saying that Jesus is the son of David, basically, because 14 signifies this promise. From Adam to Abraham is a covenant promise. From Abraham to David is a royal promise. And then from David all the way through to Jesus, I guess, is this promise of the Messiah that's prophesied in the Old Testament. So, yeah. So, let's keep going. Although, there's a couple of other interesting points. Some of these people, Tamar. So, there's a couple of women in here, and they are not the type of people that you would really want in the Messiah's bloodline if you wanted it pure and above board. So Tamar had a sexual scandal. I believe she did some things with her dad, tricked him. Rahab was a Gentile and a former prostitute. Ruth was a Moabite. And Bathsheba. Where's Bathsheba? That's a reminder of David's sin. So he killed the husband because he saw Bathsheba from the rooftop and he liked what he saw. So, and that wasn't good for King David. But here it is in the genealogy of Jesus, sort of like showing that God can move through imperfect people. And thank God that that's true, hey? Because I know I'm not perfect, but Jesus can still use us, can still use me. Okay. So, let's read through the next bit. Joseph accepts Jesus as his son. This is how the birth of Jesus the Messiah came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. The first time the Holy Spirit is mentioned in the New Testament. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law, and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord has said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. Okay. Well, that's short and sweet. What other things can we talk about? So it's sort of like a natural reaction from Joseph. Like back in those days, I guess. No sex before marriage. And if the person that you are engaged to becomes pregnant and you didn't do it, well, you can sort of make some assumptions there. And in most cases, you'll probably be correct. But God intervened, hey? And he was quite obedient. He didn't say how or whatever. He just said, yes. And he did what the angel said. So probably some big faith from Joseph here, and he immediately said yes, basically. He didn't take a month to think about it. Not that we know about that. Maybe he did, but it doesn't say it here. So Mary remained a virgin until Jesus was born. So Jesus, Yeshua, means Yahweh saves. And Yahweh is the Old Testament name for God. And it's sort of like it carries this deliverance power in the name. So in the Bible, naming is very important. So Jesus delivers from sin, bondage, and spiritual oppression. It's sort of like not just forgiveness, but deliverance, and not just a cleansing, but a spiritual rescue. So we'll follow the story of Jesus through Matthew 1. Can probably go a couple of places through this Matthew 1. God works through broken people and broken stories. Those 14 and 14 people listed there, and the wives and so on and so forth. They were messed up people. Lots of adultery and murder and all of like deceit and things like that in those stories, but through it all, God can... reminds me of that Bible verse that says, God works all things together for the good of those who love Him. What's it? According to His righteousness, or according to His purpose, something like that. So even though some of them did really bad things, God can use that to glorify His name. When the Holy Spirit moves, the impossible becomes possible. So, how can a virgin become pregnant? Well, the Holy Spirit got involved. And it's a miracle. So, it's breaking natural limits. There's not a natural explanation for it. God speaks today through dreams and visions and divine interruptions. So, here Joseph got a divine visitation. I can't say I've had a divine visitation. Once upon a time, I was hoping for that sort of thing, but then when I heard more and more about this sort of thing, there's a lot of times when the angel appears and says, do not be afraid. Because like, if there's a being suddenly appearing out of nowhere, like most people will basically want to die on the spot. But God still speaks today. He speaks with dreams. He speaks through divine visitations. It's still happening today. He speaks through the Bible. He speaks through other people. He speaks in a small, still voice. And in the Bible it says, my sheep hear my know my voice. So, the closer you draw to Him, the closer He'll draw to you, and you will recognize His voice. Obedience unlocks supernatural alignment. So, Joseph aligned himself with the plan. He could have, no. I wonder what would the story have been if Joseph said, no, actually, I don't believe this. I'm going to divorce her in any way. Jesus would still come, but Joseph wouldn't have been a part of the story then, hey? Instead, he said yes. And we can look to him as a model example millennia later. The soundtrack that I have has got some random people talking in the background, hey? Jesus came not only to forgive, but to deliver. The message of freedom and breakthrough is rooted in Matthew 1. So, this is where the seeds are sown. We'll see how it unfolds. God is with us, truly present and not distant. This Emmanuel, God with us. God is not like a big angry guy in the sky with a stick that's ready to whack us when we step out of line. The Father sent Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. And He's here with us today still. Well, through the Holy Spirit. God's nearness through the Spirit. And yeah, so that's it for Matthew 1. Thank you for joining. We'll do a Matthew 2 at some point, and there's exactly what it says here, 2 viewers. And even if it's just me, myself, and I, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Father, the Word, will still have a party. So yeah, like I said at the start, we'll see how this thing goes. But I'll just start doing things, and we'll just pretend there's thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands here with us. Because I think more people need to just have chats. And more people just need to listen to the other side. And more people just need to be encouraged. That's how we're going to build more bridges, hey? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. And all the best.